When a man realizes he's losing someone valuable, he doesn't always react the way you expect. He might not chase after you immediately. He might not even say anything at all. Instead, one of the first things that happens is a deep emotional withdrawal. This is where he starts to retreat into himself, shutting down in ways that may seem like indifference, but in reality are signs of inner turmoil. Emotional withdrawal is not always a conscious choice. It's a defense mechanism, a way for him to process what's happening without fully confronting the weight of his emotions. At first, it might look like he's moved on. He may not text, call, or try to see you. He might appear unaffected, carrying on with his life as if nothing has changed. But don't mistake his silence for peace. Because what's really happening beneath the surface is far from calm. He's dealing with emotions he doesn't know how to express. He's experiencing the void that your absence has created, and instead of addressing it directly, he pulls away from everything around him. This withdrawal can manifest in different ways. Some men go completely silent, avoiding all contact, while others become short-tempered, irritable, or distant, even with their friends and family. They may start ignoring social events, skipping out on plans, or spending excessive time alone. The reason for this behavior isn't always obvious from the outside. But inside, the emotional weight is pressing down on them. Losing someone who was once a source of support, love, and companionship isn't something that can be brushed off easily, no matter how much someone tries to suppress it. A man in emotional withdrawal often isolates himself from the world, not because he doesn't care, but because he doesn't know how to process the pain. He might throw himself into work, spending longer hours at the office just to keep his mind occupied. He might suddenly become obsessed with hobbies or interests he never cared about before as a way to distract himself. He might even start avoiding mutual friends or places that remind him of you, simply because facing those things brings too much emotion to the surface. But despite all these distractions, there are moments when reality catches up to him. And when it does, he feels the full weight of what he's lost. It's often in the quietest moments late at night, when he's lying in bed, when he's scrolling through his phone and hesitates before messaging you, when he sees something that reminds him of you, that the pain becomes undeniable. The emotional withdrawal isn't a sign of strength or indifference. It's a sign of internal conflict. He's avoiding his emotions because facing them means acknowledging that he lost someone important. And that realization is painful. Sometimes emotional withdrawal leads to temporary numbness. He might try to convince himself that he doesn't care, that he's better off without the relationship, that he's free. He might even engage in behaviors that seem reckless, going out more, partying, flirting with other women, not necessarily because he's moved on, but because he's trying to fill a void. But the truth is, no amount of distractions can replace the emotional connection he once had with you. Another interesting thing about emotional withdrawal is that it often confuses the people around him. His friends might notice a shift in his behavior. Maybe he's not as talkative as before, or he seems lost in thought more often. Some might ask him what's wrong, but he won't always have an answer. He might brush it off with, "I'm just tired," or "I've been busy." Because even admitting that he's struggling is something he's not ready for. Many men don't process emotions in real time the way women do. Instead, they suppress them, push them aside, and pretend they don't exist. Until one day, the weight of it all becomes too much. There's a misconception that men don't feel the loss of a relationship as deeply as women do. But the reality is they often feel it in ways that are harder to detect. While women are more likely to express emotions, seek support, and work through their feelings openly, men tend to internalize their pain. They might not cry in front of anyone. They might not talk about their feelings, but that doesn't mean they aren't affected. In fact, many men don't fully process the loss of a relationship until weeks or even months later. At first, they may think they're fine, But as time goes on, as the silence becomes heavier, as the realization sets in that you're no longer there, that's when the emotional withdrawal reaches its peak. That's when regret starts creeping in, and that's when the pain of losing you becomes something he can't ignore. For some men, this withdrawal phase lasts only a short while before they finally reach out, desperate to fix things. For others, it lingers, turning into deep sadness, regret, or even depression. Some will try to suppress these feelings indefinitely, pretending they're unaffected, but those emotions don't just disappear. They surface in unexpected ways through mood swings, frustration, or a sudden need to reconnect. When a man is in emotional withdrawal, it means he's facing something he never thought he'd have to deal with. The reality of life without you. And whether he admits it or not, that realization changes everything. When a man begins to feel the pain of losing you, something shifts within him. At first, he may try to convince himself that he's unaffected, that life is moving forward as usual, that he's fine without you. But the truth is, there's an undeniable emptiness creeping into his world. And the more he tries to ignore it, the stronger it becomes. It starts small. Maybe he notices your absence in the little moments, like waking up without a message from you, or realizing that the inside jokes you once shared no longer have a place in his daily conversations. Then, before he even understands what's happening, he feels a deep void where your presence used to be. That void doesn't sit quietly. It grows, it gnaws at him, and it forces him to confront something he wasn't prepared for: regret. He starts to wonder if he made the right decision, if he should have tried harder, if there's still a chance to turn things around. And that's when it happens. His sudden attempts to reconnect. These moments are rarely planned, and they often catch him off guard. He might find himself hovering over his phone, debating whether to send a message. He might type something, delete it, retype it, hesitate, and then put his phone down, only to pick it back up again minutes later. The first attempt to reconnect is often subtle. He might start by liking an old photo of yours or watching your stories, hoping you'll notice. He might send a simple text, something casual like, "Hey, hope you're doing well," or "I saw something today that reminded me of you." These messages aren't random. They are his way of testing the waters, seeing if there's still an open door, if you respond, if you still care. If you reply even with something neutral, it gives him a sense of relief because it means he's still on your mind. If you don't, that silence speaks volumes. And it forces him to sit with the reality that you may actually be moving on without him. Sometimes the attempts to reconnect become more persistent. He might start commenting on things he never paid attention to before. He might reach out through mutual friends, casually asking how you've been. He may even find excuses to show up in places he knows you frequent, pretending it's a coincidence. But deep down, he knows exactly what he's doing. He's trying to get back into your world without directly admitting that he misses you. In many cases, his sudden attempts to reconnect are fueled by an internal battle between pride and pain. On one hand, he doesn't want to admit that he made a mistake, that he's hurting, that he wants you back. On the other, he can't escape the feeling that he's losing something valuable. And that realization is too heavy to ignore. So instead of coming out and saying, "I miss you," he finds indirect ways to test if you're still emotionally available. You may also notice inconsistencies in his behavior during this time. One day he reaches out, sends a text, or likes your photo. The next, he pulls back again, acting as if nothing happened. This push and pull dynamic isn't a sign that he's moved on. It's a sign that he's struggling. He's testing the waters, trying to gauge how much access he still has to you. But at the same time, he's battling his own pride and uncertainty. For some men, reconnecting means trying to revive old conversations, bringing up shared memories and reminiscing about the past. They might say things like, "Remember when we used to do this?" Or, "I was just thinking about that trip we took." This isn't nostalgia for the sake of conversation. This is him longing for the emotional connection he once had with you. He wants to know if you still remember, if those moments still matter to you, if there's still a part of you that feels something for him. Others might take a more indirect approach, trying to get your attention without directly reaching out. They may start posting things that they know will catch your eye. Quotes about love and regret, songs that remind you of your relationship, or even photos meant to make you wonder who they're spending time with. This isn't random. It's a calculated move, a way to make you think about them without them having to make the first real move. If his attempts to reconnect don't get the response he wants, the frustration starts to build. He may go silent for a while, but that silence isn't peace. It's him trying to figure out his next move. He may convince himself that he should just move on, but then, late at night, when everything is quiet, when there are no distractions, the urge to reach out comes rushing back. That's when the pain of losing you becomes undeniable. And whether he acts on it or not, it lingers, shaping his thoughts, affecting his emotions, and making him realize that some connections aren't so easily replaced. When a man truly feels the loss of someone important, there is a shift in his energy that he cannot control. He starts noticing things he never paid attention to before. The weight of your absence becomes heavier with each passing day, and before he knows it, his emotions begin to reflect in his actions, even if he's not fully aware of it. This internal struggle manifests in ways that even those around him can see. His moods fluctuate, his enthusiasm for life diminishes, and the things that once brought him joy no longer feel the same. At first, he tries to convince himself that everything is fine. He tells himself he's moving on, that life is continuing as usual, that he's unaffected. He may even put on a front, going out more, laughing louder, posting more on social media, anything to create the illusion that he's doing just fine. But deep down, there's a growing discomfort, a realization that no matter what he does, something is missing. That something is you. People around him start noticing the change. His friends pick up on the moments when he zones out mid-conversation. They see the way he suddenly becomes quiet when a familiar song plays, the way he seems distant when someone mentions your name. They may not say anything at first, but the shift in his energy is undeniable. He's not as present as he used to be. His mind is elsewhere, occupied with thoughts he doesn't want to admit are consuming him. It's in these moments of solitude that the reality of his emotions hits him the hardest. When he's alone, without distractions, without people around to keep him occupied, the silence becomes deafening. He catches himself checking his phone out of habit, hoping to see your name appear, only to be met with nothing. That empty space where your presence used to be becomes more and more apparent, and he starts to feel it in his daily life. Sleep doesn't come as easily as it once did. He stays up later than usual, lost in thought, replaying past conversations, wondering if he could have done things differently. He may even start dreaming about you, and when he wakes up, the pain of reality sets in again. He realizes that the connection he once took for granted is slipping away. He doesn't know how to stop it. His emotions begin to surface in unexpected ways. He becomes irritable over things that never used to bother him. Small frustrations turn into bigger outbursts, not because of the situation itself, but because he's carrying an emotional burden he doesn't know how to release. He might lash out at friends, withdraw from social activities, or lose patience over minor inconveniences. It's not that he's angry at the world. He's frustrated with himself, with the way things turned out, with the emotions he thought he could suppress. For some men, this emotional weight leads them to change their routine entirely. They may start working out more, pushing themselves harder in an attempt to channel their emotions into physical exhaustion. Others throw themselves into work, staying late at the office just to avoid going home to an empty space filled with memories. Some seek out distractions in the form of new relationships, but deep down they know it's just a temporary escape, a way to avoid facing the truth. Even when he's out in public, surrounded by people, the reminders of you are everywhere. He sees couples holding hands and remembers the way yours fit perfectly in his. He overhears someone laughing and is reminded of the sound of your voice. Even simple things, a scent, a phrase, a place you once visited together, can trigger a flood of memories. It's in these moments that he realizes just how much he was attached to you, how deeply you were woven into his life. He may not admit it to anyone, not even to himself, but the signs are there. He becomes more nostalgic, finding himself drawn to old photos, rereading past conversations, revisiting the moments when things were good. He may even find himself reaching for his phone to send a message, only to stop himself at the last second. The battle between pride and pain rages on, but the emotions continue to weigh him down. As time goes on, his struggle becomes more evident. He starts to wonder if you're feeling the same way, if you miss him the way he misses you. He may even try to find out through mutual friends, asking indirect questions, hoping for some hint that you haven't completely moved on. But no matter what he hears, it never seems to be enough. Because deep down, what he truly wants is not just to know how you feel, but to undo the loss he's now feeling every single day. When a man realizes that he is losing someone he once had, his mind becomes a battleground between regret and pride. The emotions he thought he could suppress start surfacing in unexpected ways. He tries to carry on as if nothing has changed, but the weight of your absence lingers in every corner of his life. His routine, once predictable and stable, now feels disrupted. The things he once enjoyed don't hold the same excitement. His favorite activities now serve as reminders of the times you were there, the moments you shared, the connection he no longer has. At first, he might not fully understand what's happening. He may tell himself he's just having an off day or that he's adjusting to the new reality. He might go out more, surround himself with distractions, seek the company of friends who will keep him occupied. But no matter where he goes or what he does, the feeling remains. An emptiness that wasn't there before. It starts in the quiet moments, creeping in when he least expects it. When he wakes up and instinctively reaches for his phone, only to remember there's no message from you waiting. When he goes to share a joke and realizes you're not the first person he can text anymore. That realization stings in a way he never anticipated. He thought moving on would be easier, that time would naturally erase the attachment, but instead it magnifies what he took for granted. He notices your absence not just in the big things, but in the small details. The way you used to remind him of important dates, the way you encouraged him when he doubted himself, the little acts of care that made his life better. He might not have acknowledged them before, but now their absence is glaring. He tries to fill the void, but nothing quite works. He might attempt to meet new people, hoping that someone else can take your place. But no matter how many conversations he has, no one understands him the way you did. No one laughs at his jokes in the same way. No one reads his emotions with the same depth. He starts comparing whether he wants to or not. He begins to realize that what you brought into his life wasn't just companionship. It was something rare, something meaningful. And the more he tries to replace it, the more he feels its loss. This struggle plays out internally, but it also starts affecting his behavior. He becomes more distant, even from those closest to him. Friends notice that he's not as present in conversations, that he seems lost in thought. He may brush it off, saying he's just busy or tired, but deep down he knows the truth. His mind is caught in a loop of memories, replaying the moments when he could have acted differently, when he could have appreciated you more. Guilt begins to creep in, mixing with the regret. He starts to see his own mistakes more clearly. He remembers the times he dismissed your feelings, the moments when he took your presence for granted. He realizes that he didn't fully value what he had until it was slipping away. This awareness doesn't come all at once. It builds slowly, layer by layer, until he can no longer deny it. And with that awareness comes frustration. He may try to blame external circumstances, telling himself that things just didn't work out, that it wasn't meant to be. But no matter how much he rationalizes, the feeling of loss remains. He wonders if it's too late to fix things, if there's still a way back. The fear of reaching out and being rejected holds him back. Yet the fear of never having another chance weighs on him just as heavily. Some men react by withdrawing, isolating themselves to process their emotions. Others go to the opposite extreme, trying to prove both to themselves and to the world that they're fine. They might post more on social media, showing off a version of themselves that looks happy and carefree. But beneath the surface, there's a restlessness, a dissatisfaction that won't fade. Because no matter how much he tries to act unaffected, his heart knows the truth. Losing you is a pain that isn't easy to escape. He may start engaging in self-reflection, questioning the choices he made. He might even come to a realization that shocks him. He was the one who let something valuable slip away. And that realization doesn't just bring regret, it brings an ache that lingers in the quiet moments, a longing that can't be ignored. When a man begins to realize that he is losing you, something inside him shifts in a way he cannot control. At first, he may try to push away the feeling, convincing himself that he's fine, that life is continuing as usual, but slowly his actions start revealing the truth he refuses to admit. His thoughts become clouded with memories of you, moments shared, conversations had, and the realization that what once felt so secure is now slipping away from his grasp. It begins in the quiet moments, in the spaces where you once existed. He might be sitting in his car, listening to music, and suddenly a song comes on that reminds him of you. A simple melody that once meant nothing now carries a weight he was not prepared for. It brings a flood of memories, your laughter, your voice, the way you used to sing along. And just like that, he is pulled into a past he can no longer touch. He starts noticing your absence in ways he never expected. The small things, your texts that used to arrive in the morning, the check-ins during the day, the way you made sure he was okay even when he didn't ask for it. At first, he brushes it off, telling himself he doesn't need those things. But as time passes, he starts reaching for his phone, hoping to see your name appear, feeling a sense of disappointment when it doesn't. He starts typing messages only to delete them before sending. The fear of looking desperate, of exposing the vulnerability he once denied, holds him back. His emotions become unpredictable. Some days he feels angry at himself, at the situation, at you for pulling away. Other days he feels nothing at all, as if his emotions have shut down completely to protect him from the pain of loss. He might throw himself into work, into distractions, into anything that keeps him from thinking too deeply. But it doesn't matter how busy he stays, the thoughts always find their way back. And then there are other nights when the world is quiet and there's no one around to keep him distracted. That's when it hits the hardest. He lays in bed staring at the ceiling, wondering where you are, what you're doing, if you're thinking about him too. He remembers the late night conversations, the way you used to say goodnight, the warmth of knowing someone cared. But now there is only silence. He starts questioning everything. Could he have done more? Did he push you away? Was there a moment where he could have changed things? He replays past conversations in his head, looking for clues, trying to make sense of what went wrong. And with each thought, the weight of regret grows heavier. His friends start to notice. They see the change in his demeanor, the way he zones out during conversations, the forced laughter that doesn't quite reach his eyes. They might ask him if he's okay, and he will brush it off with a casual, "I'm fine." But deep down, he knows he's not. He knows something is missing, and no matter how much he tries to ignore it, that void is real. He may even start trying to find pieces of you in other people. He talks to someone new, hoping for the same connection, the same warmth, but it's not the same. The way you understood him, the way you made him feel, no one else can replicate that. Every new conversation feels hollow. Every new interaction reminds him of what he lost. His pride becomes his biggest enemy. He wants to reach out, to fix things, to bring you back into his life, but something inside him resists. The fear of rejection, of looking weak, of admitting that he made a mistake, it all holds him back. He tells himself that if you wanted to be there, you would be. But at the same time, he secretly hopes you'll be the one to break the silence. He may try to prove that he's doing fine without you. He posts on social media more than usual, showing off a life that looks full and exciting, but deep down, he knows it's just a cover-up. Because no matter how much he tries to distract himself, the truth remains the same. Losing you is something he was not prepared for, and no amount of pretending can make that pain disappear. When a man begins to realize that you are no longer accessible to him, it ignites a deep and unsettling feeling inside him, one that he often cannot articulate. He may not have noticed it at first. He may have assumed that life would go on as it always had, that you would always be there, that your presence in his world was something certain, something constant. But as time passes and your absence becomes more apparent, a quiet discomfort begins to settle in. At first, he brushes it off, telling himself he's fine. He convinces himself that he doesn't need you, that he can move forward without feeling any real sense of loss. But beneath the surface, the reality is different. He starts noticing the spaces where you used to be, the times you would reach out first, the moments you would check in, ask about his day, show concern when he was struggling. Now those moments are gone, and no one has stepped in to replace them. He realizes that the warmth he had access to, the comfort of knowing someone truly cared, is no longer his to rely on. He tells himself, it doesn't matter, but the truth is, it does. It matters more than he expected. There's a shift in his daily routine. He may have thought he could just keep moving, stay busy, and not feel the difference, but suddenly, even the smallest things remind him of what he's lost. He picks up his phone to share a joke only to remember you're not there to receive it. He hears a song that reminds him of you, and instead of skipping past it, he lets it play, caught in a moment of nostalgia. He starts revisiting old conversations, rereading messages, trying to recapture the feeling of when things were simpler. The world around him doesn't seem to notice the internal battle he's fighting. To everyone else, he looks the same, going about his day, handling responsibilities, appearing as if nothing is wrong. But inside, something feels off. There's a lingering restlessness, an unease that he can't shake. He may even find himself more irritable than usual, reacting to small things with more frustration than they deserve. It's not because those things are truly upsetting him, it's because there's a deeper emotion that he's refusing to acknowledge. Sleep doesn't come as easily as it once did. He lays awake longer than usual, his mind running through memories, playing out different scenarios. He wonders if he could have done things differently, if he could have appreciated you more, if there was a moment where he should have fought harder instead of letting go. He imagines what you might be doing, who you might be with. If you're missing him the way he's missing you, the uncertainty eats at him. The thought that you might be moving forward without a second thought unsettles him in a way he never expected. Even when he tries to distract himself, your presence lingers in his mind. He may go out more, spend time with friends, fill his schedule with activities to keep himself busy. But no matter how much he tries to occupy his time, there are moments where the loneliness catches up to him. In a crowded room, surrounded by people, he still feels the weight of what he's lost. He looks around and realizes that none of these people understand him the way you did, that no one else makes him feel the way you did. He may try to reach out in subtle ways at first. Maybe he watches your stories on social media, hoping to get a glimpse into your life. Maybe he accidentally likes an old photo just to see if you'll notice. He might even send a casual message, one that seems harmless on the surface, but is really his way of testing the waters, seeing if there's still an open door. If you don't respond the way he hopes, if you seem unbothered, it stings more than he wants to admit. The realization that he may have lost you for good is something he wasn't prepared for. He thought he had more time, that you would always be there in some capacity, but now he sees that things are different. He starts to regret the moments he took for granted, the times he assumed you would always be there waiting. And as that realization settles in, the pain of losing you becomes something he can no longer ignore.